Most men don't realize it, but constantly seeking validation is one of the fastest ways to push people away. At first, it seems harmless. You just want reassurance. You want to hear that you're enough, that you're loved, that you're valued. But when every interaction becomes a test of whether she still approves of you, it doesn't feel like love anymore. It feels like pressure. And pressure suffocates attraction, respect, and connection. The psychology behind this behavior is simple: insecurity. When you don't trust your own value, you outsource it. You start fishing for compliments, demanding constant attention, or overanalyzing small signals to reassure yourself. The problem is, people feel the weight of this need. What you see as a cry for closeness, they experience as a drain. Instead of being drawn toward you, they start to feel repelled. Think about it. Everyone wants to feel free in a relationship. Freedom doesn't mean distance. It means not feeling smothered. But constant validation seeking turns the relationship into a cage. She can't laugh without you asking if she still loves you. She can't go out without you questioning whether she still desires you. She can't disagree without you spiraling into panic. Over time, this doesn't create intimacy. It creates exhaustion. And here's the paradox. Validation seeking has the opposite effect of what you want. You think it will bring her closer, but it drives her further away. When a man constantly asks for reassurance, he stops being seen as confident or grounded. Instead, he feels fragile, like someone who needs to be babysat emotionally. And while she may care for you, care doesn't equal attraction. In fact, the more she feels responsible for your self-worth, the less she feels desire for you. This is why women often say, "I just don't feel the spark anymore." It's not that she stopped loving you, it's that she started feeling more like your therapist than your partner. And therapy energy kills polarity. A relationship thrives when both partners bring value to the table, not when one person's role becomes constant reassurance. So where does this need for validation come from? Often, it's rooted in early experiences. Maybe you grew up never feeling good enough. Maybe you only got attention when you performed well. Or maybe past partners made you feel disposable. These scars create a hunger for constant affirmation. But here's the key. That hunger can't be fed from the outside. No matter how much validation you get, it never feels like enough, because the real hole is internal. The brutal truth is this: nobody can convince you you're enough if you don't already believe it. That's why constant reassurance never satisfies. It's like pouring water into a bucket with holes. The moment someone fills you up, it leaks out, and you're thirsty again. Until you patch the bucket, you'll always be chasing. So how do you fix this? It starts with shifting the source of validation. Instead of chasing it from others, build it within yourself. That means discipline, growth, and achievement. Not for her approval, but for your own. When you keep promises to yourself, you no longer need someone else to tell you you're valuable. You know you are. And people are naturally drawn to men who radiate self-belief. The second step is learning to sit with discomfort. When insecurity rises, resist the urge to demand reassurance. Instead, pause. Breathe. Let yourself feel the discomfort without outsourcing it. Over time, you'll prove to yourself that you can handle the storm without begging for shelter. And the more you master that, the less power insecurity has over you. Finally, focus on giving instead of taking. When your presence becomes a source of strength rather than constant need, people want to be around you. Instead of asking, "Do you still love me?" Show love. Instead of asking, "Am I enough?" Demonstrate through your actions that you believe you are. Confidence isn't about never feeling insecure. It's about refusing to let insecurity dictate your behavior. Because here's the truth. Validation seeking is one of the subtlest ways men push people away, and most never realize it until it's too late. The good news is the opposite is also true. When you stop seeking reassurance and start embodying confidence, attraction grows, respect grows, and instead of pushing people away, you start pulling them closer, effortlessly. Emotional shutdown doesn't look dramatic. There's no shouting, no slammed doors, no broken plates. It looks like stillness, quiet eyes, crossed arms, short answers, a man who keeps the peace by disappearing while staying in the same room. Most men think this is strength. They call it composure, control, stoicism. But when you shut down, when you withhold affection, words, and presence, you're not protecting the relationship. You're starving it. Connection dies not from a single blow, but from a slow lack of oxygen. And the cruel twist is this. The quieter you become, the louder her fear gets. Your silence speaks in alarms. Why do men shut down? Fear. Fear of conflict, of being misunderstood, of saying the wrong thing. Shame, too. The belief that certain feelings make you weak or that you'll lose respect if you show them. Add training from childhood. Man up, don't be soft, fix it, don't feel it. And you get a strategy that seems safe. Retreat. You convince yourself that silence prevents damage. In reality, it just delays it. Problems buried alive don't die. They ferment. And when they explode later, they come back stronger, meaner, and harder to repair. Here's how shutdown lands for her. As abandonment. Not neutral, not calm. Abandonment. When you withdraw, she has to guess. She fills your silence with her worst stories. He doesn't love me. He's checked out. It's my fault. Her nervous system spikes. She presses harder for a response, and the chase begins. You run, she pursues, both of you exhausted. Polarity collapses. She stops feeling desired and starts feeling like your interrogator or caretaker. Desire can't survive when the feminine must pry open the masculine. She wants your presence, not your perfection, your steady eyes, not your stone wall. There's a difference between self-regulation and stonewalling. Regulation sounds like, I'm getting heated. I don't want to say something I'll regret. I'm going to step outside for 20 minutes, and I will come back at 7:15 so we can finish this. Stonewalling is vanishing. No time frame, no reassurance, a cold face that punishes with distance. One protects the bond, the other punishes it. If you need space, claim it like a leader. Set a clear return time, validate her need for closure, and actually come back. Reliability is masculine. Disappearing is not. Use a simple framework when talking feels risky. Name then need. Name your inner state, then state what you need to stay present. I feel overwhelmed and defensive. I need 10 minutes to breathe so I can hear you properly. Keep it short. No essays, 2 honest sentences beat 20 minutes of icy silence. Then use the 60-40 rule. Listen 60, speak 40. When you do speak, slow your voice, relax your shoulders, uncross your arms. Your body is half the message. Label one emotion out loud. I feel embarrassed. And watch the tension drop. Naming reduces shame. Shame fuels shutdown. Create a repair ritual after conflict. 3 steps. 1. Own impact, not your intention. When I shut down, you felt alone. I see that. 2. Validate, without arguing the facts. It makes sense you got anxious. 3. Describe change. 1 behavior you'll adjust. Next time I'll say I need 15 and I'll set a timer to come back. End with a check. Is there anything unsaid? 5 minutes here saves 5 hours of distance later. Repair isn't about who's right. It's about restoring the us after the storm. Rebuild attraction with consistent micro-signals of presence. A hand squeeze mid-conversation. Turning your shoulders fully toward her. I'm here. Finish your thought. Schedule a 15-minute weekly check-in. What went well? What felt off? What will adjust? Keep it light, specific, short. Add spontaneous affection that isn't a prelude to sex. Forehead kiss, hug from behind in the kitchen, a calm, I appreciate how you handled that. These are the opposite of withholding. They say, you don't have to earn me. I'm choosing to be here. Here's the stakes. Emotional shutdown seems harmless because it's quiet. But quiet is how relationships end. First in the eyes, then in the voice, then in the bed, then in the calendar. If you keep withholding, you will push away the person who wanted nothing more than your steady presence. Strength isn't silence. Strength is staying reachable while you're uncomfortable. Strength is leaving the room to regulate and returning when you said you would. Strength is speaking one imperfect truth instead of weaponizing distance. If you want to keep her, don't vanish, lead. Passive aggression is one of the most toxic ways men push people away Because it hides behind politeness. On the surface, everything seems calm. There's no yelling, no outright fight. But underneath, the energy is sharp, resentful, dripping with unspoken hostility. And while you may think you're avoiding conflict, what you're actually doing is creating distance. People feel the sting even when the words sound neutral. They don't hear what you say, they feel what you withhold. The psychology of passive aggression often comes from fear of confrontation. Many men are terrified of open conflict, so they express their anger indirectly. Instead of saying, "I'm upset," they withdraw affection. Instead of disagreeing openly, they use sarcasm. Instead of owning their frustration, they do the task half-heartedly, leaving a trail of quiet punishment. It feels safer than direct honesty, but it's not. Because unspoken resentment doesn't disappear. It grows. Here's the brutal truth. Resentment leaks. You can smile, nod, and pretend you're fine, but your body language betrays you. Your clipped tone, your cold shoulder, your sighs, they communicate more loudly than words. The person on the receiving end feels trapped. They know something is wrong but can't fix it because you won't name it. This erodes trust faster than open arguments. At least with arguments, the cards are on the table. With passive aggression, everything stays hidden, and poison thrives in the dark. Men often justify passive aggression by saying, "I didn't want to start a fight." But here's the paradox, you're already in one. You just moved it underground. And underground battles are worse. They drag on longer, confuse both sides, and create permanent cracks. What you think is protecting peace is actually sabotaging it. Every unspoken frustration you bury becomes another brick in a wall between you and the people you love. So what do you do instead? You learn to express resentment before it rots. That doesn't mean exploding or lashing out. It means speaking plainly. "I felt disappointed when this happened." Direct honesty may feel uncomfortable, but it builds respect. Passive aggression feels safer in the moment, but it kills safety long-term. People don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be clear. One powerful tool is replacing sarcasm with sincerity. Sarcasm is just anger wearing a joke mask. The next time you feel tempted to slip a cutting comment, pause. Ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Then say that feeling directly. It might feel raw, but it also feels real. And real is what sustains connection. Finally, you need to deal with the root of resentment, avoidance. Most resentment builds because men keep swallowing their discomfort until it hardens into bitterness. Stop swallowing. Address issues early. Set boundaries before they're crossed 3 times. Say no when you mean no, because every time you silence yourself, you don't just betray her, you betray yourself. And that betrayal festers until it leaks out in sideways comments, cold touches, or forced politeness. The cost of avoidance is always higher than the cost of early honesty. The truth is, passive aggression and hidden resentment don't keep you safe. They keep you isolated. They push people away not with a single blow, but with a slow drip of disconnection. And by the time you realize what happened, the damage is already done. If you want connection, choose clarity over cleverness, presence over punishment, honesty over hiding. People can handle your truth. What they can't handle is the poison of what you refuse to say. Control doesn't look ugly at first. In fact, it often hides under the mask of care. Men tell themselves they're just protecting or just making sure everything is okay. But underneath, over-control sends a different message. I don't trust you. And nothing pushes people away faster than feeling distrusted. It doesn't matter if it comes from insecurity, jealousy, or fear, the effect is the same. Instead of feeling loved, she feels suffocated. At the heart of control is fear. Fear of betrayal, fear of loss, fear of not being enough. Instead of trusting the bond, you try to monitor it, manage it, and tighten your grip. You check her phone. You question where she's going. You text too often, not to connect but to track. And while you convince yourself it's love, it isn't. It's ownership. Real love offers freedom. Control strangles it. Here's the paradox. The tighter you squeeze, the more you lose. Over-control doesn't create security. It creates rebellion. People naturally pull away when they feel caged. The more rules you set, the more secrecy you breed. The more you question, the less she shares. You don't prevent betrayal by controlling. You invite it by poisoning trust. This is why controlling men often say, "I gave her everything and she still left." They confuse possession with devotion. You can't own someone into loving you. You can only create a space where love grows voluntarily. When love becomes surveillance, attraction dies. Respect dies. And without respect, no amount of control can hold a relationship together. The deeper danger of over-control is that it shrinks you. Instead of leading with calm presence, you lead with fear. You spend your energy managing her behavior instead of managing your own. You neglect your growth, your mission, your discipline, because your obsession is making sure she doesn't slip away. And in that process, you become less of the man she admired in the first place. Breaking this cycle requires courage. The courage to risk trust. Instead of checking her phone, you build a life so full of purpose that betrayal can't destroy you. Instead of interrogating her, you let her actions show you her character. Instead of holding tight, you hold steady. Trust doesn't mean naivety, it means refusing to live in paranoia. If someone wants to leave, no amount of control will stop them. If someone wants to stay, no control is needed. The truth is this: over-control and lack of trust don't protect love, they poison it. They push people away by suffocating them, by turning intimacy into surveillance, by replacing respect with suspicion. If you want to keep someone close, don't tighten your grip, strengthen your presence. Because freedom builds desire, but fear kills it every time. Neglect doesn't announce itself with chaos. It doesn't crash into the room like betrayal or explode like jealousy. It creeps in quietly, a missed thank you, a conversation half heard, a kiss that used to linger but now feels like routine. Neglect is the slow erosion of attention, and it's one of the most common ways men push people away without realizing it. Not because they don't care, but because they stop showing it. In the beginning, everything is intentional. You notice her new haircut. You ask about her day. You hold her hand on the street. These little gestures fuel connection, but over time, men get comfortable. They stop noticing. They stop asking. They assume the bond is strong enough to survive on autopilot. But no relationship survives autopilot for long. What starts as comfort slowly turns into complacency, and complacency always kills desire. Here's the truth. People don't leave because of one big mistake. They leave because of 1,000 little ones stacked over time. Not listening, not appreciating, not investing. Neglect tells the other person silently, "You're not worth the effort anymore." And even if you never say those words, the lack of action screams them. What you fail to do speaks as loudly as what you do. Neglect doesn't always look like distance. Sometimes it looks like distraction. You're in the room, but your eyes are on the screen. You're nodding at her story, but your mind is on work. You're physically present, but emotionally absent. That absence cuts deeper than open conflict, because conflict at least means you're engaged. Neglect means you've stopped showing up at all. The deeper danger of neglect is that it's invisible to the man committing it. He tells himself, "I'm providing. I'm still here. I haven't cheated. What more does she want?" But survival is not love. Existing together is not connection. A relationship doesn't just need maintenance, it needs growth. And if you stop watering it, don't be surprised when it withers. So how do you break the pattern? Start by paying attention again. Notice the details. Show appreciation for the little things she does. Listen fully when she speaks, without half your focus elsewhere. Give intentional energy to the relationship the way you give it to work, to training, to goals. Attention is fuel. The more you invest it, the stronger the bond grows. Then, add back the small rituals. A morning kiss that actually lingers. A text during the day that says more than logistics. A date night that isn't just dinner but a shared experience. These aren't cliches, they're oxygen. Neglect thrives on absence. Connection thrives on ritual. Build rituals that say, without words, "I see you." You matter. Finally, you must protect against entitlement. Taking someone for granted is assuming they'll always be there no matter how little effort you put in. That illusion has ended countless relationships. Nobody stays where they feel invisible. Love isn't about grand gestures once a year, it's about small gestures every day. When you choose consistency, you kill neglect before it starts. Because here's the truth. Neglect doesn't just push people away. It convinces them you've already left. By the time you wake up and try to fix it, they're gone. Not because of betrayal or rage, but because of silence. If you want to keep people close, don't starve them of the simplest proof of love: attention, presence, and care. Connection doesn't die with a bang. It dies with a whisper. Don't let neglect be that whisper in your life.